The problems for my videos can be downloaded from my website, tonybell.com. Go to the website, click the PDF link. You'll see there's no sign in, no sign up, nothing like that. Just 100+ pages of accounting exercises. Many of the exercises are free and open, about 40%. And if you're working through those and finding you're getting great value out of them, you might consider joining and getting a channel membership that has access to the other 60% of the videos. All right, let's jump into today's exercise. Let's take a look at problem 4.1a. This problem has us comparing traditional costing, which uses one overhead rate to apply overhead to our products, to activity-based costing, which says, well, wait a second, we got lots of different things that drive our overhead. Let's use several overhead rates and apply overhead that way. So we'll start. Part 1 has us doing traditional costing, and we'll do that now. eScoot makes electric scooters for urban commuters. The company has two models, the commuter and the range models. The company uses a traditional plant-wide overhead rate and allocates its estimated $160,000 of overhead costs on the basis of direct labor hours. Okay, remember we learned the concept last chapter, or 2 chapters ago, of the predetermined overhead rate, where we take our estimated total overhead, so our estimated overhead divided by the estimated driver of overhead. In this one, they just told us it was applied on the basis of direct labor hours, so divided by estimated direct labor hours. Okay, so what is our estimated overhead? They give it to us, $160,000. And what's the estimated direct labor hours? Well, we don't know yet, but the next sentence tells us the direct labor workforce is expected to work for 10,000 hours next year. Okay, so there's our direct labor hours. So we get a rate, $16 per direct labor hour, right? 160 divided by 10 is 16. Now, this is not my labor pay rate, right? This isn't their wage rate. This is my guess or my estimate for overhead. So when I make a product and it takes me 5 hours, I would go, well, 5 times 16, I estimate there's $80 of overhead in the product, right? We know the actual material because we just bought the materials, and you can to make a reasonable estimate of how much material went into a product. You know the labor because you know how much time the employee spent, you know how much you're paying the employee. The overhead, though, you have to sort of apply. You have to estimate the overhead. And we've said, well, if I spend 5 hours on a product, I estimate there's 5 times 16, $80 of overhead cost in the product. Let's read on. It says the estimated product costs are below, and we got material, labor, which we know the amount, $600 of material for the commuter, direct labor, $25 an hour, $250 of labor cost, overhead, we don't know anything, and then it tells us the number of units produced. It says compute the predetermined overhead rate. Okay, done. $16 per hour. And it says calculate the product cost for both models. Well, material plus labor plus overhead. Now, we also know this is no longer question. This is 16, right? It's $16 per direct labor hour. To figure out how much overhead needs to be applied, I got to figure out how many hours did it take me to make the commuter. Well, we can do it a couple of ways. I think the easiest way, though, is to look at, well, it was $25 an hour for labor, and I spent $250 on labor for the commuter. You can back into it and say, well, that must have taken 10 hours. And how did I get that? Well, it was $250 in cost divided by $25 an hour tells us we took 10 hours. This one takes 16 hours. And again, the math is the same. $400 in cost divided by $25 an hour, 16 hours to get there. So now, once I got the hours, it really unlocks this part of the question. You just go, okay, well, my overhead was $16 an hour. I took 10 hours, so my overhead, no longer in question. My overhead's got to be applied overhead, $160, just 16 times 10. Take away the dollar sign, actually. And for the range, it's 16 hours at $16 an hour. It's $256 in total. So what's the cost of the product? It's the material plus the labor plus the overhead. 600 plus 250 plus 160. It's 1010. Whoops, not 110. 1010 for the commuter. And for the range, 900 plus 400 plus 256, 1556 is my internal cost for the range, 1556. Okay, so we've added up the cost using traditional one overhead rate for the company. And for most companies, that is satisfactory, and that's what most companies will do. They'll estimate overhead using one driver. But sometimes companies are finding wonky things in their numbers, and they go, oh, those cost numbers aren't trustworthy, right? Because it's based on an estimate, and their estimates are either off or there's something that smells funny just to the accountant. They look at it and they go, there's something that smells funny about our numbers. Something's not quite right here. And in those cases, those companies might consider activity-based costing, which uses more overhead rates, more than just one, to apply overhead. Because they say, oh, we got lots of different types of overhead. Why do I just use one overhead rate? Why I can use many if I want to, and some companies choose to. So, this company said the company's considering switching to activity-based costing and gathers the following information about its estimated overhead. So again, it's $160,000, same estimated overhead, but they break it down into three categories. They say, okay, we got overhead caused by labor, overhead caused by inspection, and overhead caused by parts administration. And we're not going to use one overhead rate to figure out our overhead costs, how much we're going to apply. We're going to use many. So let's figure out three different overhead rates. For assembly, $20,000 divided by 10,000 hours is, what is that? $2 per direct labor hour, $2 an hour. Oh, and just a quick aside, this is answering part A here. It says compute the activity rates for each activity. So rather than one big predetermined overhead rate, we're going to have three because we have three activities here. Inspection, $40,000 in overhead divided by 5,000 inspection hours is $8 per inspection hour. And the last one, parts and min, $100,000 divided by 100 parts, it's $1,000 per part. Okay, so now we want to figure out, well, what's each product line's share of the overhead? So if our commuter has 6,000 hours and it's $2 an hour, that's $12,000 of overhead that goes on the commuter, 6,000 times 2. For the range, it's 4,000 times 2. That's $8,000 of overhead that needs to land on the range. 1,000 times 8 is $8,000 of overhead for the inspections, and 4,000 times 8, that's $32,000. 25 times 1,000 is 25,000 in parts admin, and this one gets 75,000 in parts admin. So my total overhead to be applied to each product line, 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 25 is $45,000. 8 plus 32 is 40, plus 75 is $115,000. And if we total it up, 45 plus 115, we do get 160. Just a little check figure here. We said we wanted to apply $160,000 of overhead, and we have. Now, this is all based on our estimates. This is based on our planning. In reality, our numbers will be different because, we're not going to work exactly 10,000 hours or 6,000 commuter hours. We might work 6,127 commuter hours, right? The numbers aren't going to work out so perfectly, but in planning, they should work out perfectly, and they do here. Okay. So that's our total overhead applied. Now, remember, the cost of the product is the material, labor, and overhead. And right now, here's what we've got. We know the material, we know the labor, we don't yet know the overhead, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. The material, $600 for a commuter. I'll put C for commuter, R for range. The labor, $250 for the commuter, and we don't know the overhead under activity-based cost. We know the overhead under the old method was $160. For range, the material is 900, and the labor is 400. Now, it doesn't matter which costing method we use. Material and labor is the same. You just use the actual number. Overhead, though, you apply, and because it's based on estimate, we can use different methods of estimating, and that's what we're doing here. Our applied overhead under activity-based costing, well, we calculated it, and we said 45,000 and 115,000. You can see the numbers don't make sense, and that's because that's the total overhead applied to the product line. We need overhead per unit. So how many units of commuter were there? And the answer is 600. How many units of range? 250. So I got to divide by the number of units. 600 and 250. 45,000 divided by 600, $75 per unit. So this is our MOH per unit for commuter, 75 bucks, and 115 divided by 250, $460 a unit for our range. So let's plug those numbers in. So it's MOH is 75 for commuter and 460 for range. So what is our cost, right? Material plus labor plus overhead gives us our product cost, 600 plus 250 plus 75. Our commuter should cost $925 if we use activity-based costing, and our range $900 plus 400 plus 460. Our range should cost $1,760 if we use, again, activity-based costing. How does these compare? Let me highlight in blue our traditional method. Said these should cost $10.10 and $15.56. Activity-based costing said, no, we're going to use a few more overhead rates, get a bit more data, and we have slightly different numbers. And so what does that mean? Well, it means our costs are likely off by a little bit under traditional costing. That's the conclusion I would reach here. And it says, compare your answers in parts 1 and 2. Under a traditional costing, part 1, which product is overcosted and which is undercosted, and by how much? So under traditional costing, I thought the commuter cost $10.10. Activity-based costing says, no, it's closer to $9.25. So I would say under traditional costing, the commuter is overcosted. In other words, under traditional costing, I thought it cost more than activity-based costing reveals that it's costed. So it's overcosted by 85 bucks, and range is undercosted by more than that, like 204 bucks. And again, the math is just the difference, right? 1760 minus 1556 is $204. You might be thinking, why is one over by 85 and the other under by 200? Shouldn't it be over by 85, under by 85? Like, shouldn't they match? They match in total. The issue is I overcosted 600 units. So if I just go 600 times 85, my total amount I was overcosted was 51,000. And let's see, 250. I made 250 range units at 204. 250 times 204 is 51,000. So in total, the total value I was over and the total value I was under is the same. It's just the fact that there were more commuter units to sop up that overcosting made it a slightly lower number. So what are the implications of this? Well, it means we might be making bad decisions. If you don't have good cost data, how can you make good decisions if you don't know what your stuff costs? So most companies don't use activity-based costing unless they see a problem, right? And why don't they use it unless they see a problem? Because it's expensive. You're gathering more data. It's a pain in the neck. And if you don't see a problem, it wouldn't be worth it. But if companies think they have a big costing problem, they might be wise to see what activity-based costing has to say. All right, we've made it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now. The next video in our series is right up here. And if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.